Hello, my stitchy friends. Welcome back. My name is Laura, and you found Lella Stitches, and today's episode will be a quilting bee. It's a little delayed, but you know, life keeps on lifing, so the important part is we're here, and I'm excited. I have lots of things to show you, and it's gonna be grand. I normally start with my quilting bees with like a notion I recommend or some kind of featured designer. I once again find myself at the dry end of the pond. And so I don't have either of those for you, but I thought instead I would share. I picked up Quilter's World magazine. This is the summer 2024 issue, and it had a couple of really cute projects in it. So I thought I would just, instead of a featured designer, I'd just show you the 4 projects that I thought were really cute out of this magazine. So the first one is the cover photo, which is what caught my eye. It was very well placed and apparently not marked. Oh my goodness. You know, every time you think you're ready to record a video, the video humbles you. So it's called Flag Day, and it's basically the cover shot, but I thought it was super cute, kind of a different twist on an American flag, but just cute and patriotic. And you could totally switch this up. You could make it Christmassy by making like gold stars and red and green, or you could go Halloween or autumn, just autumn with some kind of more golden stars and earthy colors. And I don't know, it's just cute. It's fun. And I think it would go together really quickly. There's only 20 blocks in it. So, I mean, a lot more small blocks involved, but it's fun. It's cute. The next one I thought was really cute is this. It's a little fish. It's called Swimming Upstream, and I thought it was really cute. It'd be cute. They used prints in it. My first thought was dig into my batik stash and pull some of those super saturated aquas and blues and teals, and how cute is that? And I love the use of the low volumes in the lighter pieces, which is, as we know, one of my favorite things to do. The next one, oh, this one's really neat. So this is a play on a Bargello quilt, which, if you're unfamiliar, they are quilts that are pieced in strips, and then you subcut. So you cut those strips once they're sewn together into strips the opposite direction, and then you kind of offset them, and it gives you, there are so many different layouts for Bargello quilts. Anyways, I thought this one was really neat, kind of a fiery, and it looks like, I would guess, just looking at the picture, that those are batiks they used, especially with how intense the colors are. Not that prints can't be intense. Of course they can. They can be super saturated, but batiks just have a different quality to them. And then this one is super cute and really hard not to start, right? Like, dig a stash out. It would be a great stash buster. The pieces are, 5-inch, yeah, they're using 5-inch squares for the colors. So super easy to kind of scrap bust with, and what a darling quilt. It's called Juice Pops. So anyways, that's just a few of the projects in here, a few of my favorites, but I thought that was fun, and it'd be fun to share. I don't always, it's hard to know, some magazines come wrapped in plastic, and I don't do a lot of magazines. Oh, excuse me. I hope that wasn't too loud. Oh my goodness. There's a lot of dust in the air right now. It's been very dry and very windy. Oh, excuse me. Really? Gracie's having emotions. Silly girl. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, it's just nice every once in a while if, like Quilter's World isn't one I've gone to regularly. I really like the sampler edition of Better Homes and Gardens just because you get to see different quilt shops. And then I've also really enjoyed a couple of Quilt Mania books. They're Simply Modern and Primitive Quilts and More, or something like that. Anyways, they've got a couple. Quilt Mania has a couple really good. I cannot publications. There we go. Cannot find the words today. Oh boy. Here we go. Anyways, so there's some really good magazines that are consistently good, and others that are hit or miss, in my opinion. All of this is, of course, my lonesome opinion here. I found one that had, anytime there's more than 3, that's kind of my rule of thumb, more than 3 things that I would actually stitch, then I'll pick up a magazine. So anyways, that one qualified. So there you go. All right. I have accomplished goals this time. Sometimes I set goals at the end of an episode and they become, I can't remember who called it, hopes and dreams. And then they don't happen, and that's okay. It's a hobby. It's supposed to be fun, and I try to be productive but not put a lot of pressure on myself so that it stays fun. But I have a lame knee right now, and so I've gotten a lot of like quilting time in, machine time, so piecing. So I've been productive, and I have 2 tops to share with you, which is very exciting. So the first one comes from a blog. I will banner it under here, but it's donnaslavendernest.blogspot.com. And it's a free tutorial, which is very lovely and generous. And so I had made up my palette page. This is my border. That's why it's a big, long, stringy thing. I had glued it down, but then it popped off, so whatever. And I just use an Elmer's glue stick. It might even be just a generic glue stick to stick my fabric onto my color page. And then I wrote out kind of my checklist, my to-do list. And I had, kind of abbreviated her instructions so I wouldn't have to refer back to the blog every time I sat down to stitch. So this was kind of my instruction manual, and I started on 5/20 and finished the top on 6/13. So that's a pretty fast turnaround for me. I mean, it wasn't a complicated quilt, but even so, I was focused. So let's do this. I'm a little awkward right now, but we've got a top. So I'm going to go in the back, and hopefully my space is a little smaller in this room, so hopefully I'm far enough back that you can actually see the quilt. I'll also turn my chair sideways. Okay. My baby girl. Whoop. Okay. So there are 24 blocks, and then I added a blue border. And it's so pretty. It was so much fun. Each flag has its own personality. Oh, sorry, like I said, walking's a little complicated, but that's okay. I'll just go up close here. I love these watermelons. I almost thought they were a little too dark, just a little dense. The pattern is a bit bolder, and I wasn't sure it wouldn't overpower, but once I put it with a more solid blender fabric, it worked really well. Oh, we got strings. Surprise, surprise. Everything from more traditional to like bright and modern and just a bit more summer vibe, which was fun. Yeah. I love the crabs. The crabs are so fun. Click, click. And then here I fussy cut so that you would get, you know, the jar in a jar. And on the other one, it's the center. Oh, there we go. It's the blue flag. I got my lighthouse and a ship, a fishing vessel, and some little fishies. Yeah, thumbs up. It's awesome. Anyways, I have a backing. I have a batting. I had hoped to have this quilted by the time we recorded, but like I said, life lifed, and that's okay. I'm leaving town in like 48 hours, 36 hours, and I'll be gone for a week, so I don't think it will be done before I leave, but I'm hopeful that when I get back, I'll be fully rested and brimming with ambition, and I can pin this and quilt it up real quickly so I have it for July, which would be fun. All right, we'll just set that back here. Okay, the next one, this one took determination. So the flag quilt flew by. It was so quick, especially once everything was cut out. It was just like bam, 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 bam. Easy piecing, and very few points that have to be matched, very few corners. So that always feels like things fly by when you're not concerned about accuracy. Well, not accuracy, but precision. There we go. That's the right word. This next one was not the case. This one is very involved. Not necessarily difficult, just every step is involved. So Maud Strawberries by So Kind of Wonderful. I bought this pattern a couple of years ago a few years ago, actually, while we were on vacation. And I had seen the pattern before and had liked it, but when I saw their version, they had used batiks and it was just a bit richer and more dynamic. I got really excited about it. So I picked it up and I knew I had stuff at home and kind of pulled a selection. And then as it happens, often for me, I will kit something up and then it's a year or so before I actively start working on it. So, I mean, that just seems to be my trend. But here it is. When we last met, I had, I don't remember, was it like 6 or 10 of the blocks done? It wasn't quite, maybe it was about half of the blocks done. And I did the other half and I assembled it and we have a top. So again, let me like stumble my way over here. Okay. Da 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 da. I hope you can see it okay. Okay, I'll come up close again. You're good, girl. You're okay. Okay, so I used a combination of prints and batiks, and then I did low volumes in the background instead of the called for solid, just partly because it's easier to pull from stash that way, and then also because it's fun. And so I did wind up doing, I think it's 4 fewer blocks. So I rearranged just a little bit. Mine is a bit more narrow, but I just want this for a throw on my couch. It's just going to be like a summer movie quilt. And each strawberry is different. They're totally scrappy. And I tried not to repeat any greens in the stem and leaf area. Even the sashing is scrappy. Strips sewn together. And I love it. I can hardly wait to get this one quilted. It's so fun. I'm going to do a scrappy green border I mean, not border, binding, excuse me. So I'll just pull these colors and cut 2.5-inch strips, however long they wind up, until I have enough length in inches to go around. And I think that will be a really fun. This one's flamingos. It's so soft, but it's so cute. Oh. Pretty fun. Not pretty fun, super fun. I love this one. I'm thrilled with how this one worked up. So much work, but sometimes, oftentimes, the ones that require more effort are ever so much more satisfying and rewarding in the end. Ooh. Some of my things did not match up. I was more concerned about the length of my rows being accurate, and so please don't judge too harshly. Like my normally I would match those up, and I just, by the time I got to piecing the rows, it was so scrappy anyways, with the sashings being scrappy. I was like, once it's quilted, nobody's gonna really know or care. I'm not putting it in a competition, and it's square. So I was more worried about the quilt being square at that point than matching. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I probably shouldn't have even brought it up, except for I saw it in the camera. So anyways, my top is done. I am thrilled. I love it. And I have a cute backing that was for something else, but I don't know. I might just UFO that project because it's been in its current state for like 12 years. But this will be my backing with the scrappy green border or binding. Can't say the right terms. And yeah, pretty exciting. The backing for this one is just a grunge, a solid grunge. Again, something I had in stash, kind of held aside for maybe something else, but it was so undefined that I was like, thievery. Because then I don't have to go spend $40 on backing. So just use what I have as much as possible. Well, that's a terrible folding job. That's okay. It'll have to be pressed before it's pinned again anyways. So it's not a big deal. Okay, so that took up a large portion. Here's from my book. It's now been pulled out of my brain binder because all it has to do is be quilted, and then it will go into my finished projects binder. And this will go back in my collection. And yeah, I think it'd be super cute to make a strawberry and put it on a cross-stitch project bag. It'd be super cute. And one strawberry would go so much more quickly than 24 did. Okay, so celebration, 2 tops done, and the supplies available on hand to fully finish them. So by the end of the summer, I will, well, hopefully within the next 2.5 weeks, I'll have the flags done. And then by the end of the summer, I'll have the strawberries done. So pretty fun. Usually once I get my machine out and put it in like quilting mode, meaning I've got the extra table set up to support the weight, and I've switched out the feet and loaded the bobbins and all that stuff, pulled out my little gloves, my machine girders and stuff. Once I'm in quilting mode, I definitely try to do a few before I go back to piecing. So we'll see what happens through July. There's a good chance my mom is coming to visit, so which will be delightful. Oh, I might sneeze again. I'm so sorry. Whew. I'm telling you, this dry air. My goodness. Okay. Anyways. There we go. So I may have company midway through the month, and my sister is moving midway through the month. So we do have a couple things that will be busy, but hopefully there will be enough downtime between to make good progress. Quilting is definitely one of my big goals for July. Okay, what's next? What did I work on? So the other project I had going, actively being worked on, is my Tula Pinks City Sampler 100 modern quilt blocks. And I had 75 out of 100 complete when we met last, with a goal to cut out the final 25. Well, you guys, over ambitious girl here, not only cut them out, but pieced them. So this is what I'm making. They have a handful of layouts to utilize the 100 blocks available in the book, and I have chosen this one because rainbows, and I do not have the sashing or border fabric, so I now have all of the blocks done, but it will go into a bit of hibernation until I get it was to the bunny. There we go. I got smart this time. Last time I didn't know what I had stitched in the last couple weeks started and ended. So it was a bit of a guessing game. This time I put a sticky note. So these are the ones I'd had done, this whole happy rainbow stack with bunnies on top. And these are the 25 I did. So I'll just show those to you real quick because they're cute and fun. And Tula Pink fabric is so fabulous and bright that it's just delightful to work with. And on these ones, they were predominantly square. I think they were actually all square shapes. And so the fussy cutting was very intentional and fun. If you don't know what fussy cutting is, if you're new to the quilting terminology, it's where you take a big piece of fabric and you want to focus on an image. So like a little bird, or the little fox in this one was a good example actually. So my little leaping fox, and you move your ruler so that you cut that specific image out, and it leaves wholly fabric. It's like Swiss cheesing your fabric. It is not the efficient way to use fabric, but it is a delightful result. Then you get cute little things like flowers sitting in their specific little squares, and cute little trash pandas eating apples. And it's really fun to do. I wouldn't do it on every quilt I do because it's not an efficient use of fabric, and frankly not every pattern would lend itself to fussy cutting. Sometimes the piecing itself is what is magnificent about a project. These ones are a bit more simplistic in design, but oh, this one was very intentional. You might be like, Laura, you sewed your unicorn upside down. But my thought was, it's like a card. You know how the king will be up and the king will be down? So that's kind of what I was doing there. Even though I think it's upside down because my ladybugs are upside down. Anyways, as I was saying, simpler blocks lend themselves to fussy cutting, and more complicated blocks, not that you can't. I've seen some spectacular fussy cutting done on very fine piecing, but this fabric didn't lend itself as well. But yeah, anyways, I guess that's the end of my thought. This one's pretty simple, but it's kind of cool. And that's how a few of them wound up. They would have these random little extra pieces, and they're very interesting blocks. Sweet owl. Love it. These blocks were fun though, because some of the first 75, a lot of them in fact, had triangles and other things in them. So I tried to fussy cut, but it wasn't as effective. And these gave real good spaces for cute hippos with birds on their back. Love it. We're getting there. Little hedgehogs. And not every piece in this quilt is a Tula pink, but the focus pieces are Tulas. So I mixed in solids and grunges, and then a couple blender pieces. So thatched and we like that one. This one took some specific cutting to kind of continue the curve of the snake in the lower block. I had to offset my rectangles. This one's a really cool piece of fabric up close. Nautical. Oh, here's like, see this? That's not a Tula pink, but it's cute. That cute little bees, which during this whole block from cutout to piecing finish, all I could think of was pollinators because I've got them on the brain, and then a sweet little elephant. All right, so that's my final 25. That makes 100 completed Tula pink blocks that will go somewhere safe until I can get that sashing and border fabric. And I'm thinking I'm gonna stay pretty simple with it. I would like it to be a Tula pink fabric because I don't know that I want it solid. I think I'd like a little something in it. Though I could certainly go with solid if I can't find anything. But sometimes Tula pink does, where was one? Just small, fine, rainbowy flecks in a white background. Of course, I'm not flipping to any of them. Okay, in my stack here. But if I could find something like that, that would be really cute. To kind of just do a nod to the rainbowy thing without being overpowering. A lot of her fabrics they demand attention. So if I can't find anything, then I'll probably just go with a solid white, which would be awesome too. So, but that will probably be later this year or next year before I do that. I think I am satisfied with my progress on this and I'm ready to work on other things. So at that point, those were my 3 projects I really was actively working on, and I kind of found myself with time and empty hands. And so I was like, what do I work on? And I went through my brain. So if you're not familiar with my binder here, this is my brain binder where I have my goals for the year, and then each tab is a different project. And I'll have a cover page with my checklist of things to do from start to completion. And then, which lets me know where I am on the project if I've put it down for a while. Got my cover picture to refer back to. And that's pattern. And then a palette page, which on this one, of course, I did on the back of that. But normally, here I can flip to a different one. Here we go. Here's Baker's Dozen. So I've not done very much on this other than prep work. So I've got my to-do list. I've got my cover picture. And then I've got my palette page, which you would have seen on the others. And it just helps me track my projects and know where I am and what I've done and what I would like to do by when potentially. Anyways, additional brain. That's what it really is additional brain. Because like with my cross stitch, I tend to bounce all over the place. I usually have I mean, at least 4 that I'm actively working on, because your mood changes. And sometimes, like with the strawberries, I had to put them away for at least a month or 2 because it was just a lot. It was a lot. In fact, I did all of the cutout last summer, and then I put it away and brought it back out this springish summer. And I did a couple and realized how intensive those blocks would be. And so I put them away, but I'd had my notes and everything. So when I pulled them back out again last month, it was easy to pick up where I had left off. And anyways, so yeah, that's my brain. And so I went through it and I was like, okay, what do I have that is cut out? So I could just do some piecing, because I was not in the mood to start anything or do the whole planning process for a project to the point where I'm going to start cutting out and stuff. And I found Midnight at the Oasis, which is the one I had just spoilered for you. So this is Midnight at the Oasis. It's by Jen Kingwell. It's fantastic. And I have, I guess I should hold that up again. I have the center, the first border, and the second border done. And I cut out again last summer. I was in a big cutout phase this summer, and I feel another one coming on. All these tiny, tiny turn dashes, which finish 3 inches square. So this is where I was. This is how many I had cut out. I don't even know how many that is. I did 2 more individually. They are so cute. They're so fun. They're just funky and wild, and they're all going to sit up right next to each other. And so you'll get this really fun kind of blendy, funky, wild border. You know, it's just gonna be a hoot when it all comes together. Like, this one's really strong, but so cute. They're fiddly little guys. So I did 2, and then I was like, this is so slow. So I kind of looked over on my pieces. Like I said, I had them all cut out, but they were not grouped together for each block. I just cut out the required, I don't know what these are, 1.5 by 1 inch rectangles or whatever. I'm not entirely sure what the measurements were, but I had all the required pieces, and then they were just stacked by color and count. And the intention with that is these would be really easy blocks to overthink. And that's how it gets with super scrappy projects. It becomes really easy to, like, here's kind of, I mean, you've kind of seen my palette, but it's really easy to overthink. Like, oh, is this going to be good together? You know, just, oh, I don't love those 2 together. Maybe I should pick something else. And at least for my brain, I tend to obsess sometimes. So with this one, I know I want it super scrappy. And when you look at the picture, she has light backgrounds and dark churn dashes. She has dark backgrounds and light churn dashes and everything in between. They are super funky and super scrappy. So my thought was stack them up and then just pull 1 block at a time from the top. Just let it come. Unless it is super hideous, just go with it. Because, and it's kind of trusting the palette, that it all looks good, like in your stack of uncut fabric. Everything looks great. So it's trusting that when you cut it up and put it back together again, it's still gonna look good. It's just different, right? So trusting the process. I have all of them, there are no loose floating pieces anymore. I don't even know how many bundles of confetti chain pieces. And each one has a pin in the top with its center square. So I know that, like, this is 1 churn dash block. All chained. It needs to be pressed. And then once it's pressed out, I'll snip those little pieces apart. And I've found a way to chain piece so that I've got my blocks. So I can chain piece the first 2 sections and then set them kind of in stacks by block of the last 3. And then I come back through the whole chain and I get this, that I can just cut the 3 rows equals 1 block. And these guys become these guys. So it took a little bit of figuring because the pattern is not written that way. That was just like me being, how can I streamline this so it's a bit more efficient, and mostly so that if I want to crack my window open and we're very windy, all of these hundreds of pieces, not even blocks, pieces don't fly like confetti through my room, which would be one of those like meltdown moments, I think, for my brain. It would not have been good. So this is great because these are ready for next steps. And it was awesome having it all cut out. I think this is like 10 or 12 little 9 patches ready to go. And then I will have all my turn dashes done. Anyways, it was really nice to have everything cut out because then I could just sit down and piece. And I'm watching a gamer play Breath of the Wild on YouTube right now because I'm awesome. And so I turned him on and was listening to the gameplay while I stitched, and that was super fun, and that worked out really well. The problem with all of my productivity is nothing else is cut out. This was the last one that was like ready to assemble. So I have spent some time in the last couple of weeks, really the last week specifically, but you know, it never all happens at one sitting. So last couple weeks, pulling fabrics and kind of refining my palettes for different projects and stacking them up so that I can have a like major cutout session. So that's all of my done stuff. Now let's talk plans because they are involved in these things I have prepped. Did I say that? That was not good English. It's fine. Okay, so first I had to go down and get some quilting thread. I really like the Superior Threads King Tut. Will it focus? Focus? Hello. Anyways, I really like it's a 50 weight, I believe. No, excuse me. 40 weight. Oh man. That's the needle you should use. What is the weight of the thread? 40 weight. Okay, that was right. I read that correctly. It's funny. It's all the same company, and each spool is laid out a different way. It's fine. Anyways, I needed to go pick up some quilting thread so that I can start finishing some of my tops because I have a goal to quilt. I have a bucket of quilt tops that I've finished over the years, and I have a goal to quilt, so fully finish 12 tops. I think I have done 3 so far, so I need to get hustling. We're halfway through the year, and I'm a quarter of the way through my goal. It's okay. These things will happen. Anyway, so I had to go down to the shops with my sister. I had to. And get the thread. I did need the thread. But while I was there, I found some patterns. So I found this. I don't think I've shown you. I may have shown you these. I don't remember if I have found these before or after our last video. But this is Darling. So Seasonal Patchwork by Fig Tree and Company. And basic same layout, but a different focus block for different seasons. I want to do them all. They're so cute. I have pulled fabric from stash, everything except for an outer border, which I didn't have a piece big enough for. But that's okay. That's really easy to get. I'll just show you because I don't think I've made a color card for it. I just spent some time getting them into my binder. Ooh, we're gonna get thunder. It's been hot. Well, it was like cold, well, cool, and then it's been hot. Okay, so yes, I did make a page for it in my binder. So Christmas Patchwork is the first one I want to do. And got that, but I don't think I've made a color. No, I haven't done a color page yet. A palette page. So we'll have to show up the boxes. So I've got some light greens for the trees. This will probably be my binding. I've got some lovely reds and a couple more solids because the stars, they do have a print, but they definitely read darker. So stars, and then cute, Christmassy, low volumey backgrounds. It's gonna be so much fun, and it'll go so fast. It's just like you piece the trees, you piece the stars, and then everything else is just squares and rectangles. Easy peasy. It'll be really fun. And I'm doing Christmas in July for my quilting. And a little bit for cross stitch is going to be like sci-fi July / fandom / Christmas in July. It's kind of a hybrid of themes, but I want to get that cut out because it's all in this cheapy little tub, which I can't recommend. These tubs, I find it a little bit, it's a bit frustrating. The top either doesn't want to come off or doesn't want to stay on. It cannot decide what its drama is. But it's a nice size, and I bought 2 of them long ago. So the next one is, oh, you've seen this one. Cabin Peaks is what I'm calling my spicy autumn, and I am ready to go. You guys were very lovely and generous and donated to the Quilty Fund, and I was able to go back to the shop and get, I don't have a color page yet, but get the companion half of the fat quarters, so I would have a half yard of each fabric, and I can do my spicy autumn Cabin Peaks. So I'm very, very excited. That one's definitely going to get cut out this month. There's going to be a lot of cutout happening. I don't know how much sewing there will be, but other than quilting, the goal is quilting and prep for the next round of quilts. So we'll see how it goes. So Cabin Peaks, I don't have the boxes in there. It's very far away. I did not bring it out because you've seen it. So you'll see it again once I have a color palette page. The next one, okay, I'm not sure if you've seen this one or not, but it's super duper cute. If you don't care for Halloween, it might not be your thing, but honestly, it makes me think a bit more Dia de los Muertos. My nephew, his father is from Mexico, and his half brothers their father is from Ecuador, and so Dia de los Muertos is a big day for them. They celebrate it, and it's lovely remembering, your family that has gone, and there's always lots of big, beautiful flowers and good food, and they do it upright. So this made me think of them, and here's the original pattern. It's called Pushing Up Daisies by Lella Boutique, and I thought it was absolutely charming. So I grabbed up the pattern and a couple fat quarters at that point, and then came home and dug through my stash to see if I couldn't fill in the rest with what I had. And I did everything but the background, which I knew was going to have to be something special, but I didn't want... Theirs was a really cute... There was nothing wrong with their background. Let's see if you can see it. It's kind of blurry. It's like little asterisk stars in lavender and like a soft teal. It's cute. It certainly fits the whimsy of the quilt. But when I was, again, this was a day when I was buying my quilting thread, this was hiding like at the side of the counter, and I was like, is that available? Because I'm gonna need that if it is. And it was, and they had enough for the background, which is a pretty big chunk. But isn't it perfect? It's so fun. It's so fun. And from the back, like, you're still gonna see all of the designs super well, because here are my flowers. And then I found stems, and we've got black accents and skulls, which are just scraps of white muslin from my stash. So yay! With the background and then some stash diving, we've got everything we need. So that'll be super fun. I would love to get it cut out, and then I probably won't start piecing it till late September or something. It'll be mostly my October project, and it will be super fun. Such a soft Halloween celebratory kind of project. Anyways, but I'll think of my nephews, and then if they ever come to visit in October, we'll be set. They're growing up so fast, though. They need to come visit soon, or they'll be too big for cute quilts. Sweet boys. Okay, so the next one. So that's two that are ready to cut out. I've got everything but backing and binding and maybe a border. You know, it's enough that I can stitch all the blocks. So then the next one, which I was working on last time we met, is Light in the Storm. This was a birthday present from my sister. It is by Marjorie Ryan of Quilt Design Northwest. And she is, or was, I used to live in Molalla, Oregon, and she's from Boring, Oregon, which is basically next door neighbors. And it's lovely. It's my lighthouse. So I had been working on pulling batiks, and I have found them and then cut them down to the sizes I will need. I didn't need, you only needed a fat eighth of most of them. I did have one question if this was a beginner project, and I would love to say yes. I don't know for sure until I would love to say yes. My first instinct is no. This is not beginner friendly. It is paper pieced, and the pieces in it are teeny tiny. So if it were, it's not that you couldn't do it. I always hesitate to say, no, it's not beginner friendly, because I've literally seen people take, oh my goodness, Judy Niemeyer quilts. Look her up. If you've not heard of her, Google Judy Niemeyer. They are spectacular, precision piecing, paper piecing, super sharp points. They are one of my bucket lists, but they are an investment in both time and supplies. But I have seen somebody who has never had a day of sewing in their life, take one of those classes and do a Judy Niemeyer. So I believe you are capable of doing anything you have the patience to learn how to do. With that in mind, it's possible, especially if you have somebody. I would definitely recommend you have somebody who has more experience kind of helping you. But the internet is vast and full of resources. And so if you want to give it a shot, give it a shot. But it's not something I would recommend to a beginner. It's just a little bit more intense. And part of that is the scale of the pieces. Anyways, so adventure at your own risk, I guess. Don't be afraid. I never want to say, oh, you can't do that, because I just don't believe in doing that. But definitely make sure you have people you can reach out to if you have questions or videos that can clarify things, and read the pattern well. That really is a large portion of the battle, right? Reading the pattern well. So anyways, all of that aside, I hope that answered questions. It's always hard to, I tend to rattle my answers out, and so when I'm typing answers, I worry that they are a bit even more rambly in type than they are in vocalized words. I apologize. I've been terribly remiss in replying to comments unless they have a specific, more immediate question to be answered. I read all of them. I love reading your comments. Please don't stop commenting because I do enjoy it. I will do my best to be more consistent in my replies. But I do read them all, and I very much enjoy it. And sometimes you guys are very witty and make me laugh. Anyways, I have my batiks all pulled for this. Everything, again, except for the border. I do not have either of those borders. Where this is kind of a statement piece around, I'll be doing some shopping for that border. I'll have to go out. I didn't have anything in stash that immediately screamed, So I figure I'll get this center lighthouse done, and then I'll take it with me to the shops and audition different borders with it. But I have everything I need in the meantime to get started, and I'd like to say I'll do that next month, but this might be my August. Oh, we'll just see. I'm not going to make any promises. That'll be fun. Again, if nothing else, getting things cut out and ready to pick up when the mood strikes feels really good right now. So, because I don't have anything just ready to go at this point. Okay, so I have two more that I have, at least, I think one more that I fully pulled and one that I've partially, it's a little newer in my brain. So, North Stars, I got excited about this skin. I bought the pattern when it was released because it's adorable. But it just kind of went into my Elizabeth Hartman collection and had no immediate plans to start it. When I finished Fab Farm earlier this year, and then Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery announced their Arctic themed SAL for cross stitch, I had a renewed vigor for this project, and I kind of did some Google searching to see what other people have done, because it's been out long enough now that people have shared their projects, their completed projects. And yeah, I kind of started pulling, but it wasn't vibing, and I have since made it a place in my binder and finished pulling fabrics. And what wound up being kind of the magic sauce was incorporating some batiks, which are a bit less print and a bit more color and movement, and that apparently was just what my brain needed to get excited about it. So this is where the palette page sits, and I think it'll be pretty fun. And then I do have, you can see I've written underneath their names what their background fabric will be. I have not, I'm also rearranging the layout. I'm not committed to this layout. They're just taped on. Arts and crafts. Yeah, they're just scotch taped on, so I can shift them around. But you know me, I always have to complicate things. Let's do it, but let's do it different. Patterns, my grandma always said, patterns are simply a starting point for your imagination. So it's like, get inspired by what somebody's done and then give it your own twist. And for me, that usually means make it scrappy and make it different. But it's wonderful to be inspired by patterns, and it's great. I have not, I shouldn't say that completely. I have designed a couple of quilts, and I have one that I'm in the middle of it, but it's on a bit of a timeout because I got overwhelmed. I bit off a bit more than I could chew at the moment. So designing is fun, but designing with a foundation already in place is more fun sometimes for me. I so admire the people that are like, here's fabric. Let's do this. You know, it's amazing. It's incredible. And I certainly have the skill set that I could do it if I wanted to, but I just enjoy doing other people's projects and putting my own twist on them. So I don't know. I'm rambling a little bit, but isn't that what these videos are? Me rambling about quilting. Okay, the last one comes from Quilt Recipes by Kingwell. I am fairly confident at this point that I will finish Midnight at the Oasis this summer. If I can get these fiddly little churn dashes done, it's just a border of 9 patches. Easy peasy. Maybe a little tedious because it's all the same thing, but not difficult in any way. So, I mean, I think I've kind of gone over the hump of my whatever stubborn resistance I had about it, and I'm like I can feel it starting to go downhill in a good way. Like the motivation is growing. So from this book, I love this cover. I mean, I love everything in this book. Don't get me wrong. It is gorgeous. Even if you don't quilt, it's a beautiful coffee table book because it's just beautiful in general. The photography is lovely. The quality of binding is lovely. And there's recipes in the back for yummy treats. I mean, yum. I want cookies. I want decadent cupcakes. Anyway, so the project, I'm going to start with the cover project, which is called Wensleydale. So isn't that a lovely name? So this is it. And it just feels like geometric, kind of soft denims and greens and into the blushes if I wanted to. I've gone a bit more rust with mine because apparently everything's spicy for me right now. And this is not a hard and fast collection of fabrics yet, but it's just my first initial pull. So I have this cross weave, which just has the right energy to me for what my brain envisions. And then I've pulled, you know, some lights, some mediums, some darker prints in there. I'm trying to stay super geometric like they did, but with a couple little pops of whimsy. My little Tilda there. And some word prints, because you can't make a quilt without word prints. Can you? A couple of William Morris, because it just had that kind of lovely antiqued look. So my vibe for this is kind of feeling like vintage, cozy, cottagey, cooler, but with a couple spicy pops. Denim-y. I'm excited. I think it will be really neat and really different than anything else going on. And once it's cut out, I mean, the piecing is pretty simple. So I imagine what I'll do is I'll just start pulling by block and cut them out and put them in baggies or envelopes or something like that within a box. I think there were 60 blocks, so I'll try to do envelopes because, you know, plastic, but yeah. Anyways, it's exciting to do something out of this. I've had it for a couple of years, but I haven't made any of the projects yet, which is a shame because they're beautiful. They're really, really beautiful. I mean, it's Kingwell. It's pretty hard. If you enjoy this vibe, it's pretty hard not to love her stuff. This one's very different, but really neat. And super flexible. Just pick your palette, your colors. You could do it in all different gradients of green or, you know, I mean, it could be all purples if you love purples, or there are a lot of different directions you could go with it. Anyways, exciting to do something with that book that I've had for a while. But that one's still in its infancy. I just pulled that a few days ago, and I don't know what I saw, but I was like, oh my goodness, there's that project in that book I have, that Jen Kingwell book, and what if I just saw what I have? And I was already digging for fabric, so it's like the totes were out. Let's just keep going. Oh, here, just as an example, back to that lighthouse one. This is the scale of the pieces. That's life size. That's the size you're cutting. So they are very, very small. Even I find myself a little intimidated by it. Doable, but intimidated. Yeah. So cutout, especially focusing on cutout on that Christmas one, Cabin Peaks, my Spicy Autumn, and yeah, I feel like those would be my two main focuses because I'd like to work on them. I also have a couple others that I've been gathering for that are just starting to settle into like, yes, this seems right for this project, but they need some tweaking. So I'll share that when I find the final tweaks and they settle into their places. And one of them I really hope kind of settles sooner than later because, well, I can show you. It has a page in the binder. It's that close that I gave it a page in the binder. It's called Brilliant Stars. It's from a magazine. And, oof, if I whack my face with my binder, everything will come together. So that's my palette, kind of citrusy, summery. It's summer. Like I'm trying to be like summer, but with like these deeper teals and pretty greens kind of coming into it. And then let me see if I can find there we go. So that's the pattern, Brilliant Stars. It's based off of an antique quilt, and they have found a way to machine piece it all together. And I'm very excited. I've not done a design like this before, so it will be totally different, which is always thrilling. It's like trying a new food. It's excellent. But in a genre you already know you love, right? And this is the beginning. I have since picked up a few more greens and teals because there was not nearly enough. I've also tweaked some of the golds, but I haven't updated my color palette page yet. So, like I said, tweaking, but it's really close. So, and that one, because it is summer, I would like to get at least one star done this summer, just so I have this manifestation of the vision in my brain. Anyways, so working on that. But I can see that settling in the next few weeks and then becoming part of the cutout process. So, to summarize, let me clarify this. July. Christmas in July. So I have I don't know if I ever shared these with you because I kind of said I would do them and then the season was past. So last December, I was working on this quilt called Stars Above, which I called my Christmas Dresden because this is what it looks like. But I had been inspired by an Instagram post which did reds and greens and then a red background behind the stars and then scrappy low volumes for the stars and the backgrounds. It was excellent. Definitely wound up being a little bit more work because the stars were all paper pieced. Actually, the Dresden even was paper pieced. But I have this glorious stack of, I don't even know how many blocks. A lot, because I want it for my bed, which is a king size. So, woof. It was a lot of work. But I did, before the start of the year, I got all of my blocks done. And you can kind of see the Christmas vibes, but with little splashes of kind of more modern. It's, you know, my typical hybrid between traditional and modern. I'm super excited. So literally all that has to be done is layout and assembly. My goal for July, for Christmas in July, this is my sewing. I want to assemble the top so that I can have it quilted before December when I would want this on my bed. So that is the priority numero uno outside of finishing my flags. And then that creates a box, an empty box for my fig tree trees, Christmas trees and stars. And yeah, room for a new seasonal quilt. So Christmas in July, quilting, and cutout so that we have spicy fun things for late summer and into autumn. Those are my plans and my goals. You can hold me to it because I'm going to work real hard to make it happen. Let me just review my list here. I think, I think that's pretty much it. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you got a little nugget of inspiration, or, you know, that my ramblings filled an hour for you with stitching or quilting or whatever you do while you watch. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you always for sharing the time with me. It's, you know, I love being part of both the quilting and cross stitch community. It's so wonderful. It's filled with such good people, and I'm always so humbled that people want to watch my little chatter over here in my little corner of the internet. So thank you for being here, and thank you for your comments and your likes, and I hope summer is treating you well, that it's not being too dramatic for you. I know some areas are already full swing of things. I know my mom is in Nebraska, and they've had some pretty turbulent weather, and fortunately everybody's okay, but lots of tornadoes already, and I've heard of fires already starting. And anyways, take care of yourselves. I hope you get some quilting done if that's what you love, and if you're a cross stitcher just dipping your toes into my quilting videos, thanks for giving it a chance, and I hope your stitching goes well. Maybe you're working on the pollinator cell, I don't know. Maybe you're doing something patriotic, or a lovely sampler, or something super nerdy and fandomy, which is always fun. And I'm so excited to pull a couple of mine out next month. Anyways, take care, my friends. Thank you so much for being here, and I will catch you later. Happy stitching.